The story begins with Kazuya, a 20-year-old college student. He lives alone, has no part-time job, and has little money. Still, he is happy because he has a girlfriend, Mami, although his happiness doesn't last long. One day, Mami breaks up with him because she fell in love with someone else and blocks him from her social media. Devastated, Kazuya browses social media and reads an ad about a dating app, Diamond. He can choose a girl to date and make great memories with. This app also serves to gain experience with girls, something he clearly lacks because Mami left him for someone else. So he chooses a girl at random and arranges a date with her tomorrow. The next day, Kazuya waits impatiently for his date, Mizuhara, and is shocked when she arrives. She is prettier and more beautiful than he expected. Before starting the date, he pays her what was agreed upon, and then she behaves like the perfect girlfriend. Even in the aquarium, she compliments him on his vast knowledge of fish. Finally, she takes him by the hand at the end of the date before saying goodbye smiling. For Kazuya, it was the best date in the world. At night, Kazuya checks Mizuhara's profile on the dating app out of curiosity and discovers that this is her modus operandi. She acts friendly and holds hands with her dates before saying goodbye. Kazuya feels betrayed. He thought their date had been special, so he takes revenge by rating her with 1 star on the app. Still, Kazuya decides to schedule another date with Mizuhara, and when they both meet, like last time, she asks him for the money first. Then he asks her if she doesn't feel empty having to go out with guys she has no feelings for, but she just smiles and says that she likes this job. After that, they go to the aquarium again and Mizuhara surprises Kazuya. This time she studied about various fish to have something to talk to him about, but he remembers that she is a professional at this and says out loud that he wants to break up with her. Mizuhara looks at him speechless and takes him to a more private place and complains about his weird behavior today. He was the one who requested the dating service and now he is complaining about said service. And not only that, he had the audacity to rate her poorly, making her ranking as a favorite date go down. Kazuya realizes that she is right, but suddenly he receives an urgent call. His grandmother has fainted, so he runs to the hospital being followed by Mizuhara. After all, she is a professional and there is still time left for the paid date. When they arrive at the hospital, Kazuya's grandmother struggles because she wants to be discharged right away and Kazuya's parents try to keep her in bed. When they see Mizuhara, they joke that it's impossible for such a pretty girl to date Kazuya, so he gets brave and introduces Mizuhara as his girlfriend. So Mizuhara has no choice but to play along and politely introduces herself as Kazuya's girlfriend, making the old lady happy. She wants to leave the hospital and go cook a welcome banquet for Mizuhara, but she is not allowed, so the old lady decides to go find her other friends who are also hospitalized. Mizuhara starts to panic because her grandmother is also hospitalized in that hospital, and she doesn't know that her granddaughter does for a living, so Mizuhara runs away with Kazuya. Unfortunately, they are quickly surrounded and they hide in a bed with Kazuya on top of Mizuhara to pretend to be a sick person. When Mizuhara senses that the danger has passed, she kicks Kazuya away from her, but she was wrong. At that moment, they are discovered by their 2 grandmothers, who celebrate that fate has brought their grandson and granddaughter together. Later, Kazuya apologizes to Mizuhara for everything that happened today and says he did it because his grandmother has been getting sick a lot lately and her only wish is to see him settle down with a woman, but he realized now that it is better not to lie and soon he will tell his grandmother that they broke up, just like Mami, who left him when he wanted to introduce her to his grandmother. Before saying goodbye, Mizuhara tells him that she would gladly accept to go out with him again. Days later, Kazuya is willing to be a new guy and start his life on campus again, but fate has other plans because Mizuhara is also a student at the same campus. Mizuhara pretends not to recognize him, and he does the same since she looks totally different than how he knows her. And moments later, she corners him in an empty classroom, threatening him not to reveal her secret to anyone. She would hate to lose her part-time job for someone like him. Later, they meet again in the apartment building. It turns out that they are neighbors and they never noticed each other, and it worries Mizuhara a lot, so she warns him that they should pretend not to know each other and Kazuya agrees. But moments later, he receives a text from his grandmother telling him that she will come to visit him because she wants to get to know Mizuhara better. He panics cleaning and then runs to ask Mizuhara to pretend to be his girlfriend, but she flatly refuses because he had said that he would tell the truth to his grandmother. When Kazuya's grandmother arrives, she immediately notices the mess in her grandson's apartment and suspects that they have broken up, but he lies that Mizuhara is working, so the grandmother decides to stay and wait for her. Hours later, Kazuya is ready to tell his grandmother the truth, but she senses what he is going to say and feels sorry for her grandson. She says he has never had good luck with girls, but she yet hopes that Mizuhara is his angel. All this is heard by Mizuhara through the neighboring balcony, and she decides to change quickly and take the food she was cooking and surprises them by entering without knocking like any girlfriend would do, which makes Kazuya's grandmother very happy. When the old woman leaves, Mizuhara and Kazuya make a deal. He can rent her every Wednesday for an hour to keep his grandmother happy, and he thanks her deeply, although she closes the door in his face. The following Wednesday, Kazuya goes to college in the morning and absent-mindedly bumps into Mami. He doesn't know how to act with an ex since for him, she is still beautiful. That awkward moment is seen by Kazuya's friends, Kuri and Kai, who tease their friend because they don't understand how a girl as beautiful as Mami dated him for a whole month. At that moment, they see Mizuhara passing by and Kuri and Kai say that this girl is totally different from Mami. She is very normal and boring. In the afternoon, Kazuya and Mizuhara go to visit Kazuya's grandmother. But the problems start when they leave the hospital and run into Kuri and Kai. They misinterpret the situation and Kazuya has no choice but to lie that Mizuhara is his girlfriend. Kazuya's friends are surprised and immediately invite them to the Sasano's drinking party. Kazuya fails to escape and takes Mizuhara with them, which angers her but calms down when he says he'll pay her 2 extra hours. When they get to the bar, Kazuya is shocked when he sees Mami there. The situation is so awkward that Mami says she already has a boyfriend too, but that only makes Kazuya pale. So he goes to the bathroom to freshen up, and when he comes back he finds Mami sitting at his table in front of Mizuhara. She is happy to tell Mizuhara all of Kazuya's shortcomings as a boyfriend, making everyone feel uncomfortable. Mizuhara doesn't want to listen to her anymore and defends Kazuya, but he feels so bad about the things Mami said that he agrees with his ex-girlfriend, making Mizuhara angry, so she leaves. Happy about the situation, Mami orders another round of drinks and Kazuya drinks uncontrollably. Later, Mami notices that Kazuya can barely stand and helps him walk, thanking him for taking her side at the bar. Then, she caresses his back and offers him her house to spend the night. Kazuya thinks she wants to sleep with him, which is confusing because she has a boyfriend, but she confesses that she lied earlier and that gives Kazuya hope to sleep with her tonight. That's what he wants the most, but suddenly he gets nauseous and she gives him a bottle of water to help him. At that moment, Mami receives a call from home. A friend of her brother is sleeping in the guest room, so Kazuya won't be able to go to Mami's house. She seems disappointed, so he invites her to his apartment to spend the night and confesses that he still likes her, and she smiles triumphantly and just pats his head as if he were a puppy. Then, Mami congratulates him for getting a pretty girlfriend but advises him to find a girlfriend with a good personality. To her, Mizuhara seems like a difficult person with a horrible temper, and that makes Kazuya angry and asks her not to talk about Mizuhara like that. Both are shocked by his words, so Kazuya runs away embarrassed by everything that happened while Mami is left frustrated by the situation. When he arrives at the apartment building, he runs into Mizuhara, who assumes that he and his ex-girlfriend are back together, but he denies it and apologizes for giving her a hard time and breaks down crying because he is so pathetic that he keeps clinging to the beautiful moments he spent with his ex-girlfriend, but Mizuhara comforts him, saying that it is normal, and agrees to continue the deal of being boyfriend and girlfriend for an hour on Wednesdays for the sake of his grandmother. 1 month later, Kazuya and his friends go to the beach, and he is determined to get Mami back, while she secretly plans to get revenge on him for getting a new girlfriend so quickly, so she plans to separate them. Her plan starts with her apologizing to him for being rude to Mizuhara at the bar, and then she reminds him how much fun they had together when they were dating and how they used to imagine a daughter together. Then she sighs sadly, saying that their imaginary child will never be born because he is now dating another girl. Kazuya can't believe that Mami is giving him so many hints. It's clear that she wants to get back with him, so he decides to tell her the truth about Mizuhara. Suddenly, he sees Mizuhara with her friends at the beach, but luckily she is dressed differently. She wears glasses and introduces herself as Ichinos, so no one recognizes her, only him. Then he runs to the restroom beach and panics, thinking what to do, but everything gets complicated when Mizuhara enters the same restroom beach. They can't be seen together, even less now that things are going well with Mami. So Kazuya asks Mizuhara not to get mad if he goes out with Mami, which makes her mad because they're not dating, they're girlfriend and client, and she agreed to be his rental girlfriend just for his grandmother, not for him. Suddenly, Mami knocks on the door and Kazuya comes out to distract her, but she doesn't let herself be fooled. She knows there's a girl inside, and Mizuhara has no choice but to take off her glasses, change her hair and clothes, and comes out. All of Kazuya's friends are surprised to catch the couple together in a bathroom and tease him, while Mami gets mad at him for bringing his girlfriend on the friend's trip, but pretends that everything is fine and apologizes to Mizuhara for what happened the other day at the bar. After that, Kazuya makes up lies to his friends about how he met Mizuhara. According to him, she is a rich girl who lives in a mansion and they met in Shibuya, which earns him a strong pinch from her on the back. Later, Manny asks Kazuya to help her look for her favorite bracelet behind the rocks, and he goes delightedly. While Mizuhara stays with his friends, they still don't understand how such a beautiful girl dates with such a normal boy like Kazuya, and ask her why she agreed to let Kazuya come on a friend's trip with girls, and she says that she trusts him completely, earning everyone's admiration. On the other hand, behind the rocks, Mami surprises Kazuya with a kiss. Kazuya can't help but remember how they met last spring. His friends made him look bad in front of her by telling her that he never had a formal girlfriend, which made her laugh, but days later, he asked her out and she accepted. He shyly told her that he had no experience with girls and she admitted the same. Back to reality, Mounty separates from him and asks him to forget what just happened. They must pretend in front of everyone that they are just friends. After that, they go back to where everyone are. They are playing at card games, but Kazuya receives an unexpected call from his grandmother and leaves the game table. Fortunately, his grandmother will be discharged today, and that means that his agreement with Mizuhara must come to an end before it gets more complicated. When he returns to the game table, his friends say that he lost because he abandoned his cards and he must do a penance with Mizuhara. They must eat a chocolate stick on both sides and kiss at the end. Mizuhara is bold and puts the chocolate stick in her mouth and he plays along, but he can't continue because he knows it wouldn't be right to kiss her after what happened with Mami. He stops the game and says that they can't continue because they are about to break up because they are tired of each other, and everyone understands this, except Kaib, who punches his friend in the face. Kaib accuses Kazuya of openly flirting with Mami during the whole trip, and it is clear that Mizuhara wants to break up with him because of that, so Kaib punches him again, asking him to reconsider. He is only clinging to the memories of an old relationship and is not able to see what is in front of him. Kazuya gets angry and punches Kaib back, saying that he doesn't know anything. He loved Mami so much that he suffered a lot when she left him. But Kaib is not done yet. He accuses Mami of giving Kazuya empty hopes when she already left him. Sasano realizes that everything is getting out of hand and asks Mizuhara to leave, and she goes to the restroom in the beach, where she knows Kazuya will go. Later, Kazuya goes to restroom beach and runs into Mizuhara. She says that he wasn't wrong in what he did. His friends don't know the truth, but she does, and applauds his bravery. Now all that's left is to tell the truth to their grandmothers, and tells him that her grandmother will also be discharged from the hospital next week. Before saying goodbye, he asks her if she liked hanging out with a pathetic guy like him, and she laughs, admitting that it was fun. After that, Kazuya enters the Diamond app and thinks to schedule one last date with Mizuhara for the weekend, but he sees something. On the other hand, Kaib looks for Mizuhara and asks to talk, and they are followed by Kazuya. Kaib tells her that he and Kazuya are childhood friends, and he always felt sorry for how his friend failed with all the girls, but even so, Kazuya is not a bad guy. He is a dreamer, always hoping for the good and not giving up. Last month, Kaib internally applauded when Mizuhara defended Kazuya from Mami's bad comments, and he thought that finally a girl who understood his friend, the dreamer, had appeared, so he asks Mizuhara to give Kazuya another chance, promising that he will hit him again if he screws up. Kaib then gives her 2 tickets for a boat ride, so she and Kazuya can spend some time alone. This is his celebratory gift since his friend finally got a good girl. Kazuya can't believe how good of a friend Kaib is and breaks down in tears, revealing himself, and Mizuhara has no choice but to accept the tickets. Alone, she tells Kazuya that they should take the boat ride to please Kaib, but this will be the last time they pretend they are dating, and he agrees. Later, they get on the boat and Mizuhara feels so dizzy that she quickly sits down. At that moment, Kazuya receives a call from Mami and leaves Mizuhara alone. Mani tells him that she wants to talk to him about something important and will wait for him on the rocks where they kissed. On the other hand, Mizuhara feels so bad that she goes out to get some air and falls off the boat, causing Kazuya to jump after her into the water to save her. Fortunately, the tide drags them to the beach again. The first one to wake up is Mizuhara, who panics because Kazuya doesn't wake up. She starts crying and desperately performs CPR on him, and as a last resort gives him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, waking him up. Suddenly, the Coast Guard arrives and takes them to the main beach, but not before scolding them and giving them medical attention. Before saying goodbye, Kazuya thanks Mizuhara for saving him, and she smiles at him, saying that it's what any girlfriend would do, which angers Mami, and she leaves. Kazuya wants to follow her, but Kaib stops him and tells him that he should analyze his feelings. Not anyone would jump into the sea without hesitation to save a girl. Clearly, he has strong feelings for Mizuhara. Alone, Kazuya reflects on his friend's words and can't deny that he's right, but that only increases his confusion about his feelings for Mami. On Monday, Kazuya is on his way to campus and bumps into a cute girl who treats him rudely. He then arrives at campus and can't help but blush at the sight of Mizuhara. Alone, she reminds him that they agreed not to talk or look at each other at college, and he's breaking that deal, but he can only stammer an apology and run away. On Wednesday, they go to pick up Kazuya's grandmother from the hospital, and while he's carrying the grandmother's bags to the car, the old lady thanks Mizuhara for coming today. Today is the anniversary of her husband's death, which shocks Mizuhara, and she asks what would happen if she wasn't who she thinks she is, and the old lady says that if Mizuhara was an alien, she would still like her. Later, Kazuya and Mizuhara talk about their future. He wants to continue renting her because he feels that by her side he is special and strong. He wants to continue growing thanks to her, and she incredibly agrees to continue being rented by him. She says that a rental girlfriend's duty is to help the client grow, but since they're already lying to their families, he should get a real girlfriend quickly. Suddenly, they bump into Kuri, who is surprised to see them together, and Kazuya happily announces that they decided to give each other a second chance, and that makes Kuri happy, and he tells them that he also has a girlfriend and wants to go on a double date on Saturday and leaves before they can refuse. On Saturday, Kazuya and Mizuhara first meet Kuri and then his girlfriend. She is Ruka, the cute girl that Kazuya ran into on Monday, and he can't help but stare at her. The four of them go to an indoor climbing center where Kuri shines because he is very athletic, unlike Kazuya. Then he asks his friend how he managed to get a girl as pretty as Ruka to fall in love with him, and he says that it was thanks to his manliness and athleticism, but Kazuya doesn't believe him. On the other hand, Ruka confronts Mizuhara and asks her directly if she is a rental girlfriend. Mizuhara denies it and pretends not to know what Ruka is referring to, but Ruka doesn't believe her. Then Mizuhara runs to tell Kazuya, and both are afraid that Ruka will tell Kuri the truth, so the two decide to go talk to Ruka. She tells them that she doesn't believe that they are a real couple and challenges them to kiss. So Mizuhara grabs Kazuya's face and brings it closer to hers, and when their lips are about to touch, she covers them both with her cell phone. Ruka rolls her eyes and reiterates that she doesn't believe that they are a couple, and when Kuri comes back from the bathroom, Kazuya says that Mizuhara has prior commitments and she escapes. Incredibly, the date ends at that moment and Ruka goes to a different side of Kuri, so Kazuya follows Ruka and begs her not to tell Kuri about Mizuhara, and she reluctantly agrees, but that is not enough for him and he demands a signed oath. She is speechless and he takes her to the park and tells her how his story with Mizuhara began, how he rented her out once and then everything became complicated when his grandmother met her. Because of his grandmother, the truth should not be known, so he turns on a recorder on his phone and begs her to promise her silence for his grandmother's sake. Ruka thinks he is crazy and runs away, but he chases her and begs her again to record her promise, but she refuses because she says that all the guys who rent girlfriends are frivolous, and in her eagerness to run away, she trips and falls down the stairs, but Kazuya throws himself after her and manages to put his hand under her head so that she does not get hurt. Then he begs her once again for her promise, because if she tells his secret, not only will he be harmed but Mizuhara too. Even if she is his fake girlfriend, she is the best girlfriend in the world. That confession makes Ruka's heart beat very fast, and she confesses that she is also a rental girlfriend and runs away, leaving Kazuya stunned. At night, he tells Mizuhara about Ruka, and she gets angry because she thinks she is a girlfriend from her agency, and it is forbidden for a girlfriend to get another girlfriend in trouble, but soon they both find out that Ruka belongs to another girlfriend agency operating in Tokyo. They decide to play along because she might get angry and tell Kuri about them. The next day, Ruka goes to the college to talk to Kazuya and takes him to an empty classroom and unexpectedly asks him to hug her, but he refuses. At that moment, they hear Kuri looking for them and Kazuya hides under the desk with Ruka. He doesn't want his friend to misunderstand what is happening. But Ruka takes advantage of the fact that they are together and puts Kazuya's arms around her and at the same time measures her pulse, and as she suspected, her heart begins to beat rapidly. Then they are discovered by Kuri. Kazuya assures his friend that nothing is what it seems, but Ruka does not care because she was a rental girlfriend on Saturday. Today she is just another girl and thanks Kuri for having rented her the other day, and that humiliates Kuri so much that he runs away. Later, Kazuya tells Mizuhara through the door what happened, and they fear that their secret will be discovered. Suddenly, Ruka appears and turns on her voice recorder and promises not to reveal his and Mizuhara's secret in exchange for Kazuya being her boyfriend. Until now, no boy had made Ruka's heart beat so fast. Apparently she fell in love with him at first sight. It turns out that Ruka's heart doesn't beat like everyone else's. Her beats are. There's nothing that can speed it up. No friends, no adrenaline. no dates with different clients, but a few days ago when Kazuya saved her on the stairs, her heart beat fast for the first time, and then when she forced him to hug her, her heart beat even faster. She had been waiting for someone like Kazuya for a long time, and now that she has found him, she doesn't plan on letting him go. In fact, she offers to be his new rental girlfriend, and that forces Mizuhara to open her door and go out to defend her client. Everything is getting complicated so fast that Kazuya tells them that they should talk about it in private and takes them to his apartment. Mizuhara quickly enters and Ruka accuses her of having been there before, which means that her relationship with Kazuya is not normal. They don't act like a girlfriend and her client, and that is against the rules of any dating agency. So Kazuya asks Ruka to wait outside while they decide what to do. Quickly, Mizuhara and Kazuya decide that the best thing to do is to tell Kyuri the truth, and when he was about to escape through the balcony, Ruka discovers them. She immediately breaks down in tears and Kazuya apologizes for having given her false signs that he liked her. The reality is that he doesn't see her that way, and that only breaks Ruka more and asks him for a chance. She could be his trial girlfriend. Sad by the situation, Mizuhara convinces Kazuya to go out with Ruka. After all, it's just a trial. That will be enough for Ruka to keep his secret. Days later, Kazuya feels like he made a pact with the devil. Ruka is very insistent in pretending that she is his girlfriend. She sends him more than 50 texts and calls him twice a day. She even sends him messages on social media. One night, Ruka asks him to go out to see the fireworks at the festival, but he excuses himself saying that he has plans that day. On the day of the festival, he sees Mizuhara from afar. She is dressed very pretty and he assumes that she is on a date, and that is soon confirmed when she meets up with a guy named Yumi, but she is more friendly with him and Kazuya fears that he is her real boyfriend and decides to follow them through their date. The more he spies on them, the more convinced he becomes that they are a real couple, and that saddens him because they seem to love each other so much that they go into a gift shop to buy something for each other. Later, Kazuya enters a restroom to freshen up as does Yumi. He receives a suspicious call and Yumi says that he is with Mizuhara, and just as he was told, she is very good and she is going to recommend her to others. This alarms Kazuya. He thinks that Yumi wants to recommend Mizuhara to a cabaret or a brothel and runs after him. And when he sees their faces so close, Kazuya loses it and tries to stop their kiss, although in reality, Yumi is just trying to fix Mizuhara's earring, yet Kazuya questions her about it thinking Yumi he is her boyfriend. Outraged by his assumptions, Mizuhara confesses that she is a rookie actress, and since acting school is expensive, she got into Diamond to be a rental girlfriend and practice different roles, and at this moment, Yumi is helping her practice a new script that she was given. Still, that doesn't explain the strange call Yumi received in the restroom, and he explains that he was just recommending Mizuhara to a director friend of his and then he leaves. Alone, Mizuhara scolds him for misinterpreting everything, but then she smiles at him and gives him a present. She bought him a new case for his cell phone since his broke when he jumped off the ship to save her. At that moment, fireworks start to shine in the sky, while Kazuya cries because it's the first time a girl gives him a present. At night, he can't stop staring at his cell phone case when suddenly, Ruka enters his apartment accusing him of having spent the day with Mizuhara. She doesn't want to be left behind, so she turns off the lights and pushes Kazuya onto his bed and hugs him. After hugging him, she demands that he tell her what happened with Mizuhara today, and he tells her. For Ruka, the solution is easy. He must be honest with his grandmother and then introduce her as his new girlfriend, but Kazuya refuses. His grandmother and Mizuhara are friends. Then, Ruka says that Mizuhara and him are not a real couple. He will never be able to kiss her or be intimate with her, but Ruka will allow him to do whatever he wants, and that shocks Kazuya so much that he runs away from his own apartment. Ruka can't believe that he runs away from her and sighs sadly. Suddenly, she hears his cell phone ringing and reads that he got a part-time job at a karaoke room. Days later, Kazuya is warned by his superiors that he will have a subordinate, and it is none other than Ruka. She wants to spend more time with him and steal him from Mizuhara's clutches. Later, Kazuya returns to his apartment and reads a note from Mizuhara. She wants to meet him at the balcony at night. It's the first time she initiates contact, so he quickly changed his clothes and put on perfume ready for what she wants. When he goes out to the balcony, she is dressed as her real self. She tells him that she wants a favor. There is a new girl in her agency who is terrible at dating, and the clients are complaining. So Mizuhara wants Kazuya to rent her and give her experience, and he reluctantly accepts. Then she gets serious and asks him how he feels about Mami. Surprised by the question, he says that he still fondly holds the moments lived with her, because if he were to forget them so quickly he would be superficial, and she admits that he is right. The next day, Kazuya meets Suma, the shy rental girlfriend, and Mizuhara was right, she is terrible at dating. First she hides from him, refuses to talk to him, and her smile is weird, even though he tells her he is just helping her practice. Unfortunately, they are seen by Mami. Kazuya takes Sumi bowling and teaches her how to bowl, but that doesn't overcome her shyness, and he asks her why she chose to be a rental girlfriend, and she is so shy that she prefers to communicate by texting, and she writes to him that she wants to overcome her shyness. Then he goes to buy sodas for them, but when he comes back, he sees two guys flirting with Sumi. She is very uncomfortable and Kazuya runs to save her and gets her out of there. Alone, she stammers her thanks, and with much effort, she takes his hand and smiles, and Kazuya is happy for the small progress. After that, they go to a cafe and she shyly offers him her crepe, and he accepts it even though he thinks it's a bit fast for a date. Then he goes to the bathroom, and when he comes back, his worst nightmare has come true. Mami is sitting at his table with Sumi. Sumi thinks that she should pretend to be his girlfriend, so she hugs Kazuya, and he is forced to introduce them, and Mami asks him to talk alone. She tells him that he has changed a lot. Before, he wouldn't even think of cheating on his girlfriend, and now he is cheating on Mizuhara, but she as an ex-girlfriend will keep his secret and leaves. At the end of the date, Kazuya tells Sumi that she is nice as a girlfriend and wishes her luck on her next dates, and she manages to stammer that she wants to go on a date with him next time. On the other hand, Mami still can't believe that Kazuya is cheating on Sumi and decides to look her up on the internet, and is shocked when she sees her profile on Diamond's rental girlfriend app. Later, Kazuya arrives home and meets Mizuhara on the balcony. She thanks him for helping Suma and confesses that she is planning to stop being a rental girlfriend because she got a role in the play she wanted. Kazuya can't believe that their agreement will end soon, but she assures him that she will stay with him until the end and leaves. He enters her apartment sad. He wants her to continue being his girlfriend, but he can't stop her from pursuing her dreams. It wouldn't be fair for him to confess that he likes her. 1 week later, Mizuhara goes on a date and is shocked when instead of meeting a guy, it's Mami who is waiting for her. On the other hand, Kazuya accepts a date from Ruka before going to work. His agreement with Mizuhara will end soon, and he must move on with his life because he can't hold on to Mizuhara forever. He and Ruka go to a cafe, and he agrees that she is pretty and a bit possessive and kicks himself for not falling in love with her. After that, they go to work at the karaoke room, and he sees some guys annoy Ruka asking her if she has a boyfriend, and he pretends not to see her. That's not okay with him, so he decides to give her a chance. Then he takes Ruka to a private room and wants to ask her to make it official that something horrible happens. At that moment, he sees Mami and Mizuhara walk into a room. First, Mami gives the money to Mizuhara, but she refuses to accept it, so Mami smiles sweetly and puts the money in Mizuhara's bag and then tells her that she's been checking her profile on Diamond. She's the most popular girlfriend on the site. She's probably an expert on guys, and asks her what song she sang to Kazuya, but Mizuhara says that they've never gone to karaoke, and Mami orders her to sing for her. After all, she paid for the date, and Mizuhara has no choice but to sing for Mami. On the other hand, Kazuya can't stand not knowing what's going on any longer and manages to open the door a little and listen. Mami congratulates Mizuhara for being a perfect girlfriend, but her voice becomes harsh and she reproaches her for her relationship with Kazuya. She doesn't like her going out with him. If she keeps pretending to be Kazuya's girlfriend, he'll never get a real girlfriend. After that, they leave and Kazuya feels guilty for how Mami acted with Mizuhara. She had already decided to leave her job as a rental girlfriend, but now Mami knows about it and torments her when Mizuhara was only helping him out of sympathy. Then he fakes a stomach ache at work and runs after them. He quickly finds them and hears how Mami continues to torment Mizuhara, and before saying goodbye, she asks Mami to take Kazuya seriously. He still has feelings for her, and it's not fair for her to play with him. That doesn't sit well with Mami, so she asks her how Mizuhara feels about Kazuya, and she remembers everything she lived with him and says that he is her friend, and she believes that Kazuya is a guy who could make Mami happy, and that angers her and she leaves. Kazuya can't believe everything that happened and breaks down in tears while the two girls go their separate ways. At night, Kazuya waits outside Mizuhara's apartment, and when she arrives, he tells her that he saw and heard everything that happened with Mami and apologizes for giving her a hard time. But Mizuhara asks him instead why he doesn't try again with Mami. He's been dating Ruka and Sumi, and it seems that they don't attract him. Clearly, he still has feelings for Mami. At that moment, Mami calls Kazuya and asks him if he wants to be her boyfriend. The next day, Mami tells Kazuya that she wants him to be her fake boyfriend on Wednesday. Her parents want to meet her boyfriend, and she doesn't know who to ask for help. He hesitates for a moment because Wednesdays are Mizuhara's, but Mami manages to convince him. After that, Mami goes looking for Mizuhara and sees her dressed as she really is and praises her for hiding well. Mizuhara, on the other hand, doesn't want to talk to her, but Mami blocks her escape and tells her that she thought about what she told her and thinks about giving Kazuya a chance, so she asks her not to interfere between them, and before leaving, Mami boasts that they will have a date on Wednesday. Later, Mizuhara and Kazuya meet at the apartment building and he tells her that he wants to cancel their weekly date on Wednesday, but she already knew that, so she tells him that they should end their deal right now and closes the door in his face. On Wednesday, Kazuya goes to the date arranged with Mami and meets her parents. The mother seems like a kind woman, the opposite of the father. He looks serious and strict. Despite pretending, Kazuya feels nervous and everything gets worse when Kazuya sees Mizuhara with a guy in the restaurant. He keeps watching her the whole time and suddenly, he sees her wobbling at her table and the guy helps her up, but he can't keep looking at her because Mami's father starts to question him about his future plans with Mami, and he doesn't know what to answer because he notices that Sumi is outside the restaurant looking worried. Kazuya excuses himself and goes out to talk to Sumi. She is so nervous that she can't talk and writes to Kazuya that Mizuhara was with a banned client of the agency, but the application arranged the date by mistake, and now Sumi can't communicate with Mizuhara. Worried, Kazuya says that he will help look for Mizuhara, but suddenly he sees Mami and her father arguing. He slaps her in the face for bringing a fake boyfriend, and she says that a fake boyfriend is better than a fiancé she doesn't want, but her father says bluntly that she will marry Hakuba as soon as they finish college. After that, Kazuya apologizes to Mami for eavesdropping. She just wants to run away with him, but they go back to the restaurant. Kazuya can't concentrate because he's still worried about Mizuhara because Sumi sent him a photo where she is seen entering a hotel with that guy, but he can't leave Mami alone. Then her mother asks him what he likes about Mami, and he unconsciously answers that he likes her smile, her way of being, how she scolds him when he is wrong. She always puts others' feelings before hers, and then he realizes that he was describing Mizuhara and runs out of the restaurant. He quickly finds the hotel where Sumi was waiting for him, and he runs through the floors knocking on doors hoping to find the guy who took Mizuhara, but there are too many doors, so he sets off the fire alarm. That scares the guy who was about to take advantage of Mizuhara, and he tries to run away, but Kazuya jumps on him and then hands him over to the police, and Mizuhara tells them that she had a drink with that guy and then she felt sick, and when she woke up, he was on top of her and thanks to Kazuya nothing happened. The police scold Mizuhara for having such a risky job while the arrested guy makes fun of her and all the rental girlfriends for him. They play with men's feelings for money, and that angers Kazuya so much that he declares that Mizuhara has been the best thing that has happened to him. Thanks to her, he tried to be a better person every day. Thanks to her, he learned that his feelings are important too, and everyone should seek happiness, not blame others for their misfortunes. After that, Mizuhara and Kazuya walk home and she asks him why he saved her and he says that he is her boyfriend, which leaves her speechless and she can only rest her head on his shoulder sighing. Days later, Kazuya goes to college like every day and runs into Mizuhara, but they just smile and pretend not to know each other after all. Their strange relationship is going to continue a little longer.